I'm sorry that this is a couple days late, but I guess it's better late than never. Time to see what you all ask the Phoenix. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, and I think my camera's sitting crooked. So that's a good way to start the video, isn't it? Want to say really quickly thank you to the all of the 8 people that watched the preview that me and Christian and Guapo did for Payback. My first time ever hosting one of the Google Hangout gimmicks, so I'm sort of learning on the fly. We had a constant stream of about 8 people watching, and the viewership of the video since it's gone up in video form has been pretty damn good. That was a lot of fun. Like I say, learning on the fly. We'll get the kinks out of that and surely do it again. But I'm really interested in as much feedback as we possibly can get on doing the Google Hangouts on this channel. It's a new thing. If you guys really like it, the positive reaction from the people actually in the chat was great. If I can get a more broad spectrum of the opinion of that, if you guys thought it was great. If anybody didn't think it was so great and would rather we go to the Skype format that we were doing before. But that was a lot of fun, and if we do decide to do that going forward, there's going to be a lot of fun, interactive type things. I think we proved in that video that me having a distraction like a chat window up here is going to make the video longer. But thank you as always to Guapo and Kristen for joining me on that, and they're great. Go check them out at, what the hell is their channel? The Black Cat Feline. Anyways, this is the April Q&A. As always, I gotta say, for the people that are watching for the first time, the deal is normally on the 25th, but typically a little later in this video, I do this Q&A. This Q&A is called Ask the Phoenix. You throw your questions in the comment section below of this video for the May Q&A and get them in before May 25th, and then we go on from there like I'm doing tonight. Lot of the usual suspects in the comment section today. Really appreciate that. The loyal, long-standing followers of this channel, but do not in any way, stretch or form, let that dissuade you from, if you've never put a question down before, put it down in there. I make a big point always of addressing the usual suspects in the comment section, which is great because it's, you know, people that have been talking to me via this channel for a long time. But the other half of that is an invitation for you guys to always come join, be a new voice, be a new person, be a new question asker. And who knows, in a couple of months I could be shouting you out. But that's basically what we're doing here, and without any further ado, because I'm already rambling, we're going to get into the questions. And my screen's already scrubbed up too far. The Nurlock, and I really hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, says, "Hey Spaz, I know you hate Deluxe Man, so my question is, what do you think about the rants that Vintage Wrestling Fan and the MT Omar Reviews did on Deluxe Man in their videos? They were called The Rant on the YWC, Fuck Deluxe Man, Stevie Breach, and Sean's View Entertainment, and the other one was called The Best and Worst of the YWC. Your name was mentioned in one of them, by the way." Now, I went and I found these videos, and basically they say, I'm not going to turn this into a big rant on Deluxe Man. People that have been watching this channel for a long time know what my problems are with him. They haven't really gotten... my opinion of him hasn't changed, but then again, I haven't been watching his content, and as far as I know, he hasn't had anything to say about me in a while. So it's kind of one of those let it lie type of things. I do think he's a hypocrite. I do think he goes whichever way the wind is blowing, whichever way is going to get him more views. He's as much as admitted that. Things that were mentioned in those videos, he legitimately thinks he's one of the smartest wrestling fans in the YWC, which I disagree with. He also ditches, like, people that he converses with on a regular basis if they don't agree with him on wrestling. What gets addressed in one of these videos is the fact that he basically dropped me like a rock and tried to turn the entire YWC against me because I didn't like Team Hell No. And those are the types of reasons that I don't really like Deluxe Man. I saw those videos. I'm not really familiar with Vintage Wrestling Fan and the MT Omar Reviews, but the videos were good for what they were worth, and I did a little bit of digging on both of those channels, and both of them are worth a look. So Nurlock, as well as Vintage Wrestling Fan and the MT Omar Reviews. If you guys are looking for some new guys to check out, those would be, I guess, a couple of my newer suggestions. Obviously, check out some of my my other friends. Check out Heel Steven. Check out Fear the Spear 1990. Check out OK Fabe. As I said, the Wrestling Recap crew over at the Black Cat Feline, and as well, they can be found on this channel as well. speaking of usual suspects, we got the Angry Mark, who says, how would you book Payback? The only thing I would change about Payback, because really it's just going to be a bunch of cool matches, I would have had a rematch between the Usos, Anderson, and Gallows. I would have had Finn Balor debut. I would have put this match on early in the card. Finn Balor debuts, helps them beat the Usos. Then you've got the announcers playing up for the rest of the night. Oh my god, this group is 4 people strong now. Yada, yada, yada. Roman doesn't stand a chance. Get to the main event. Finn Balor leads Anderson and Gallows down to the ring, and they turn on AJ Styles. AJ Styles stays face. You got heel Finn Balor with the Balor Club. Roman Reigns can go do whatever he's doing next, and your next rivalry is AJ Styles versus Finn Balor. That's what I would do, but, you know, it is what it is. We are going to see Balor on Sunday. I will pretty much guarantee that. Favorite China match and moment? Really, when she co-held the Intercontinental Championship with Chris Jericho, because it's a two-pronged thing. Like I said, there's one other diva women's wrestler that I can think of that held a men's title, and that was Miss Jacqueline holding the Cruiserweight Championship, as I said in my tribute to China, which I really do encourage you guys to go check out. A couple videos ago, didn't mean for it to be a 40-minute video, but it is. Yeah. Don't know what that is. Didn't mean for it to be a 40-minute video, but it is what it is. You see, you got things working on double levels here. You got China, who looked more in place wrestling with the men than she did with the women. When she wrestled in the women's division, it was almost like she was out of place. And I'm not saying that to be insulting. I was like, oh my god, she's fucking manly. I'm saying that, but in a positive light, so I hope you guys take it that way. So not only was she in a unique position with as a woman holding a man's title, I can't think of very many times, other than tag team championships, obviously, where 2 people have co-held a title. So not only did they put her in the unique scenario of holding the a male title. Why am I dinging? Why is this a thing? Not only did they put her in the unique situation of a woman holding a man's title, she also put her in a unique storyline scenario of co-holding a title and basically playing a literal tug-of-war with the title where both people had an equal claim to it. And at the time, you had Jericho, who was, for the younger portion of his career, I think this is where he was at his most comedic, most charismatic, and I think they played off each other quite well, because you got China, the quintessential woman trying to succeed in a man's world, so she was very serious, and you got Jericho playing off that. The only thing I will say was when they finally had a match to sort of nail this all down, who is the undisputed Intercontinental Champion, why did they throw Hardcore Holly in the mix? That was kind of bullshit. But yeah, ultimately the entire China-Jericho Intercontinental Championship scenario, I would almost, for her career specifically, I would almost put that above the stuff that she did with DX. And I know that that's a loaded statement. A lot of people will disagree with me, but that's why this is my video, isn't it? Why do you think all these wrestling fans are starting to pretend like they were China fans from the start? 2 reasons. It makes them look like better people, and some people need help with that. And it gets views on videos. I said, again, I'm going to go back to my my China video for a second, which sounds like I'm plugging myself, so sorry for that. But I don't do an RIP video on every wrestler that passes away. I could, but I don't. I did one for China because I literally remember her debuting and remember her leaving and remember everything in between. So this is somebody who had a good chunk of impact on my life as a wrestling fan. So I did it from a personal perspective. I didn't do an RIP for Balls Mahoney because it's not my place to do that. There are better people out there that know more about him that can do that. Same thing goes for Blackjack Mulligan. Same thing goes for guys like Dusty Rhodes. There are people out there that know more about Dusty Rhodes than I will ever know. And it's the same thing, you know, you go into the celebrity world, Michael Jackson, Prince, Alan Rickman, Robin Williams even though Robin Williams is a good chunk of my movie watching life. First of all, this isn't a movie channel, this is a wrestling channel. But I hope you guys get my point. People that literally hop up and throw up a video every time somebody passes away, A, your videos are monetized, so that's distasteful. B, you really look like you're being a vulture for views. And I hope that's not offensive, and I hope you know what I mean by that. But I think that in the YWC, death is a commodity, and that's really bad. Like, that's really bad. Would Stephanie McMahon become a manager when the Authority goes away? Should Stephanie McMahon become a manager when the Authority goes away? Not now. before, when it was just like she was the boss's daughter and she was sort of going around doing her own thing, she managed Triple H, she managed Jericho, she managed Kurt Angle for a while, if I'm not mistaken, and she did various other things. She almost got married to Test, you know, R.I.P. and all that sort of thing. But now, and so kayfabe is kind of falling apart a little bit. We know that Stephanie McMahon is one of the bosses. So for her to turn around and be a manager at this point, I don't think the wrestling world would accept it. I'm not saying that she couldn't be a good mouthpiece. She's a good mouthpiece for Triple H, and it works because it's real. She is the wife. On a far lesser extreme, it's why Maurice works for The Miz, because behind the scenes, we know that they're married in real life. If that wasn't the case, these two are kind of a mishmash. Triple H and Stephanie less so, but no, I don't think we roll our eyes at it. And that's not to say that she couldn't do the role well. I think our knowledge of how the real world is would keep us from enjoying it, no matter what a good job she did. Do you think WWE is wasting Lana's potential, considering she could be a great manager? I think she is a great manager. I think her being the kept woman of Rusev is a good role for her. I just mentioned the Maurice thing again. The one thing I like with the forward movement they've done with pro wrestling women is we now have a divide, again, as there should be, between women that are there to be valets, women that are there to be backstage interviewers, or, you know, so-and-so's wife or whatever, and the wrestlers. Because before you didn't really, and then the valets were having matches, and it was just bad. The whole shtick with Summer Rae and Lana and all that sort of thing with Ziggler and Rusev was a mess. But that's really the last time. I mean, you have Natalya coming out with Tyson Kidd when Tyson Kidd was there, but again, there's a real story there. The fact that Lana and Maurice, because Maurice used to be a wrestler, but she's very much in that valet role, and it's sort of solidified. The actual women in the women's division are solidified. Lana has had a match, but she's sort of solidified. I like that there's that barrier, and I don't think they are mistreating Lana. I don't think they are misusing her, because she is being a great manager in her own way. How would you book the return of John Cena? I would have John Cena come out the night after any... I know he's coming back for Memorial Day, is it? American fans, tell me your holidays. But he's coming back Memorial Day. He's already announced it, so there's no surprise. I would have him come back the night after... I would have him come back the night after a pay-per-view. Have Roman Reigns, and this is where people are going to hate me, have Roman Reigns defend the title against Sami Zayn at a pay-per-view. Have Roman Reigns win. Listen to me for a second. Have Roman Reigns beat Sami Zayn clean. Have him come out, crow about it the next night on Raw. He's interrupted by John Cena. I guarantee you, John Cena will get cheered that night for cutting off Roman Reigns, especially after Roman Reigns just beat Sami Zayn. Because, you know, sometimes you can do a little bit of this with the wrestling world. It's kind of easy. Just say something shitty about Daniel Bryan. But you could have John Cena come out, and he would get cheered. And you could basically have John Cena do all his goofball stuff, but he would get, if he's against Roman Reigns, he'll get cheered. And you could even have him on the mic be like, hey man, these guys never cheer me. What the hell did you do? And just have him rip on Roman Reigns. Have him rip on Roman Reigns. People will cheer John Cena for ripping Roman Reigns. That'll be what could turn Roman Reigns heel. You could have John Cena versus Roman Reigns. You could have a role for John Cena still as a babyface, because they're not going to turn him. We know that. Where people, I think, would not necessarily over the long term, but at least in the immediate, they would get a kick out of John Cena, which is good, which is something we haven't seen in a while. And, you could have John Cena versus John Cena 2.0, say, at SummerSlam. Now, do I want either one of them to have the belt? Really? But I think it would be, at least on the night, I think that would be a cool way to bring back John Cena, just ripping Roman Reigns. If you remember when The Rock came back after not being in WWE for a while, and he announced that he was going to be hosting WrestleMania 27, and the second half of that promo was him just taking the piss out of John Cena. John Cena could turn around and do that to Roman Reigns, and I think it would work. Is it just me, or does it feel like Baron Corbin will get lost in the shuffle in a few months? I don't think so. As I said in the preview video for Payback, I think he is a superstar. I don't think he was received well in NXT, because NXT fans want really 5-star wrestlers, whereas WWE is seen more as having superstars. And Baron Corbin benefits from that on the main roster, because I think Baron Corbin is more a superstar than a wrestler. And so I think he was in a bad place in NXT. He's in a better place now. I said, my suggestion is, and nobody likes it because it's not true to what happened in IWGP, but the Bullet Club isn't coming to WWE. The people from the Bullet Club are coming to WWE, but the Bullet Club is going to be different this time around. You could have Baron Corbin in the Bullet Club, just as another guy in the gang. I'm not saying make him a prime focus, but just make him add to their numbers. He can break off eventually if he gets better on the mic and gets a better relationship with the audience. Who knows? Like, if they're heels, he can break off and be face. If the Bullet Club is like loved and they go face because they don't have a choice, kind of like they did with DX, you could have Baron Corbin turn back heel and go against somebody. Like, you're gonna get Baron Corbin versus Luke Gallows or some shit like that. I don't think they will right away. I think the one that is getting lost in the shuffle right now is Titus I mean Apollo Crews. Because I don't think they know what to do with him. He's an amazing talent. He's taking over from Titus O'Neil because Titus O'Neil was an idiot, and I'm going to talk about that in a video in a couple of days. I promised that video over a week ago, and then the China stuff happened, so that video has been pushed off, but it is still coming. The one that's getting lost in the shuffle right now is Apollo Crews, and that's really unfortunate because the guy does some fantastic stuff in the ring. Okay. What is your favorite show on the WWE Network? It's the easy answer, but NXT. I've watched the Edge and Christian show. It's kind of funny. I've watched the Table for Three. It's kind of there. The podcasts with Austin are okay. But when I think about the podcasts with Austin, I think about Triple H and what he said about China before she passed away. And that's kind of shit. Do you think Roman Reigns will ever be legit over with the fans? No. And that's not anything on him. Like, he could be better. He could be better in the ring. He could definitely be better on the mic. But it's one of those things where the fans insist on being counterculture, so they will forever hate anything that the WWE likes. As soon as WWE showed some favor to Seth Rollins, started shitting on him. As soon as they showed, their super ridiculous favoritism to John Cena, hated him. As soon as the Bellas got spotlight, hated them. So no, he won't get over. He needs to get better. But as he does get better, we're going to realize the fact that he's getting over is because the fans are just stubborn at that point. And that's a thing. Because as I've said, there's a couple people, the Bellas, The Miz, Roman Reigns, and there's a couple of others. They're not the best. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they are, but they're not nearly as bad as the people that make a habit of hating them, make you want to believe. In your opinion, what are the things that suck about today's wrestling and today's wrestling fans? Today's wrestling, I mean, obviously the PG rating and everything that comes with it, the toned down violence, the toned down storylines, the toned down promos, but counteract to that is you get better in-ring wrestling matches and not so many, cookie shots and spot fests and all that sort of thing. So that has a thing. Wrestling fans, the biggest thing I can say about wrestling fans that I can't stand right now is you used to watch wrestling to have fun. Now, people watch wrestling to bitch. People watch wrestling choosing to focus on the bad, choosing to focus on the negative, choosing to ignore the positive, and I will say, that's where the YWC is kind of guilty. People focus on the negative because it'll get them more clicks on their videos. And that is a fact. I'm up here. I mean, I will admit when the WWE falls on its face. This past Raw, I think they did that. A couple times at WrestleMania, I think they did that. But for the most part, I am accused of being too positive about the product. And the fact that people this goes back to the whole Deluxe Man thing. The fact that people will shit on me for enjoying a show means that you are really trying to protect your idea that the show was bad so that you can get more clicks on your videos. So the biggest thing wrong with wrestling fans today is we used to watch wrestling to have a good time. Now there's a lot of fans that watch wrestling to have a bad time, and that is such a shitty outlook. I can't even properly put it into words. Thank you for that, Angry Mark. My buddy and my co-host El Guapo says, a game of push one, bury one, repackage one, and leave one right where they are. Cesaro, Kalisto, Damian, Sandow, and Dolph Ziggler. Bury Damian Sandow because they're doing that already. Repackage Dolph Ziggler if you can. Push Kalisto and leave Cesaro right where he is because, you know, Cesaro's injured, so clearly he's a #1 contender. Dream match with one current wrestler and one former wrestler. I'm going to call him current because he's going to debut in UFC any day now, but I'm going to say CM Punk versus Shawn Michaels. I had said for a long time that when CM Punk was first, you know, making a big name in WWE, that CM Punk is the next Shawn Michaels. Not that they were similar, but that when you watch Shawn Michaels was the total package. He could talk. He was a great character. He was a great face, a great heel. He could fight anywhere on the card. He could be a tag team guy. He could be a singles guy. He could be a mid-card guy, main event guy. He could brawl. He could do high flying. He could do technical wrestling. The whole gambit. Like, Shawn Michaels was the quintessential plug and play wrestler. I think the next person that we saw that was like that after that was CM Punk. Daniel Bryan to a lesser extent. So I say Shawn Michaels and CM Punk had one face-to-face meeting once, but I think it was during like a DX reunion Straight Edge Society type of time frame, and I don't think we got the full what we could have gotten out of that. But that's a dream match. It really is. Thoughts on Balor dropping the title at a house show? It really telegraphs. It really telegraphs that we're going to see him at Payback. Like, really makes it obvious. It's kind of a punch in the gut to people that have been watching the product on TV, because we've seen Samoa Joe try and fail for that belt twice, and when he succeeded, very few of us got to see it. Now, the flip side of that is the argument that WWE would give you is that you need to do something like this every now and then at a house show to really drive home the fact and drive up ticket sales with the idea that anything can happen on a house show. You can't hardly miss it. Because I have said, I have pontificated up here many times. I love going to the house shows in Toronto when they come to Toronto. Ricoh Coliseum, it's always a good time. The one thing that you really don't want to see at a house show is a title match because the ending is telegraphed. Doing something like this every now and then sort of counteracts that mentality. And that's good. From a sales position, from a just general, for people that are going to house shows, a general excitement factor, general, like, how can I say this? Suspension of disbelief factor. It's good for all of that. But you're pleasing a small audience and potentially pissing off a large audience. So, because the television audience got to see clips of it this week on NXT, which is not so great. With the sinking ship that is TNA, who do you think will be the next major star to move out and join the Indies or WWE? Well, actually, breaking news today was that Eric Young debuted on NXT at their recent round of tapings, and apparently he's immediately feuding with Samoa Joe. Which is both awesome for me because I used to watch TNA and kind of shitty because you walked in and you know, you've got a title shot. You're pulling a Cesaro. After that, I know they're in talks with Bobby Roode. I really want them to sign Velvet Sky. I mean, like, I really want them to sign Velvet Sky. I just... And if she brings Angelina Love in with her, then cool. I want them to bring back, I want them to pull back to our side of the line Gail Kim. Because and please, I know there's somebody out there that's going to call me racist for this. I want to see Gail Kim versus Asuka. I want to see Gail Kim versus Asuka at WrestleMania. I don't care if it's for a belt. This is one of those things that, you know, Charlotte says she's going to main event WrestleMania, and I kind of chuckle a little bit. I would rather see something like Asuka versus Gail Kim. I really would. I would rather see a lot of other things, but Charlotte, just no. You know, her dad's running around telling people to kill themselves and whatnot. I'm sure that's going to do wonders for her career. Anyways, Guapo, thank you for your questions. Cheney815 says, this may come across as a joke considering what month we're currently in, but let's throw TNA a bone right now. So TNA are the April Fools? Is that what we're doing? What 5 wrestlers from other companies, WWE, WCW, etc., helped put TNA on the map? Oh, Jeff Hardy, Kurt Angle, Sting, Hulk Hogan to a lesser extent, Christian to a lesser extent, Mr. Anderson, off the top of my head. In contrast, do you think TNA was capable of thriving without the help of those significant names from other promotions? They would have, their cult following would have grown. I don't know that they would have, I was going to say, I don't know if they would have achieved the success that they did, but I think their success is dropping off as we see. I don't know. I would not, and I've said this before, I would not have heard of TNA if Jeff Hardy hadn't gone there. Because somebody that I used to hang out with said, you got to check out this other show. They've got Jeff Hardy versus Jeff Jarrett in a ladder match in the main event. I'm like, all right, I'll give it a shot. Thoughts on the video game they released in 2008? I haven't played it. I have. Hey, Jump Cut City, here we go. I think the last question I was asked was my thoughts on the TNA video game from 2008, which I didn't play, so I don't have an answer for you. Does putting their world title on former WWE wrestlers help or hurt the company as a whole? It helps make the title seem important. It helps get mainstream wrestling appeal. It doesn't do anything to say, hey, you came for Jeff Hardy, stick around for Kazarian. Because if people are, it's like when WWE does part-timers. If you came back for The Rock and then The Rock is gone and you go, then there's no good. And at the same time, it doesn't help your grassroots following. Like, it doesn't help your guys that are genuinely there to see the TNA talent because they're seeing the TNA talent get squashed by these outsiders. You have to do it very carefully. If you're going to use, again, I'll use WWE as an example. When they use a part-timer, the way that they should do that is have the part-timer work with a current guy. To, you know, if you came for The Rock, and The Rock is facing CM Punk, Rock's going away. Hopefully you saw enough of CM Punk to keep you around. If you went to TNA like I did for Jeff Hardy, hopefully you saw Jeff Hardy fight somebody like an AJ Styles. Hopefully you saw AJ Styles fight Kazarian. Hopefully you saw Kazarian, excuse me very much, fight somebody like an Eric Young or a James Storm. And your fandom of a company can grow one wrestler at a time. If the initial wrestler is somebody that you were already familiar with, so you followed via your familiarity, that's cool, but you have to make that jump at some point. So it's a very tenuous thing. Speaking of the world title, do you think any of these should have been the TNA World Heavyweight Champion? Christopher Daniels, yes. Kazarian, yes. Jay Lethal, yes. Abyss, yes. Petey Williams, probably not. Hernandez, probably not. Speaking of Jay Lethal, what are your thoughts on the Black Machismo gimmick? The Black Machismo sort of wannabe Randy Savage type gimmick that he did was great. I thought when Ric Flair was in TNA and he was doing his mirror image of Ric Flair, that was better. That was the video clip of them having the woo off and both of them elbow dropping their jackets and talking about Space Mountain and the two Hall of Fame rings and all that sort of thing. That was just better. JTB, I'm just going to shorten the job, Team Barry, from now on. Knockouts Champions Edition. Taylor Wilde, Madison Rayne, and Velvet Sky. I would bury Taylor Wilde. I would tag team with Madison Rayne, and I would let Velvet Sky pin me daily. That's a thing. This is a question that somebody should ask What Culture, but how would you rebook TNA going up against WWE in 2010? I'm not sure what Culture is. Just putting that one out there. How would I have done TNA competing with WWE in 2010? I wouldn't have. Because you, especially then, I shouldn't say especially then because they're worse off now, you are on some special drugs if you think you're going to compete with WWE. That's not to say that there wasn't great wrestling going on in TNA at the time. That's not to say that there weren't some cool things going on in TNA at the time. The X Division was, I think, hitting its peak around that time. They had fantastic talent on the show. But WWE has the monopoly. You are better off buddying up to TNA. If you see things like Evolve is buddying up with WWE. So now on the WWE Network, we're going to get the preliminary matches from WWE's new Cruiserweight series are happening on Evolve shows. That's a great working relationship with a lot of benefits for Evolve. Speaking of the news today, I've heard rumors that the COO of Ring of Honor is in talks with reps from WWE about getting some ROH television on the WWE Network. Now, do I think that's going to happen? No, but I think that's a smart thing to do. I think it's smart for a lot of reasons. WWE's got 24 hours a day, 7 days a week of content to put on their network, and there's a lot of repeating footage. ROH could help them fill that network. WWE could give ROH more exposure. Everybody wins. The more exposure ROH gets, the bigger it gets, the bigger competition it is, nipping at the heels of WWE, the better WWE has to be to compete, if they don't just buy all their talent, let's be real. I think everybody wins. I think you can help your competitors and still compete with them. That, like, I truly do believe that that's a thing. I said a couple years ago that WWE would be really smart to put an ROH match and a TNA match on WrestleMania, like even if it's on the pre-show or on the kickoff or whatever, because A, you make those companies bigger, they start snapping at your heels, they force you to be better. So you're pushing yourself to be better. B, even if you want to look at it from an arrogant point of view, look at this. Vince can sit back and say, I own so much of the wrestling world that these other companies are on my show. So he can puff out his ego. He can help his competition. His competition can, in turn, help him, like, motivate him to be better. Everybody wins in that scenario. I really do think. But competing with WWE, you're asking to sign your own death warrant. I don't watch Lucha Underground, but I've heard how different Lucha Underground is from everything else, how it's basically like the whole Mexican soap opera shtick there. I can't say anything about it. I've never seen it. I saw the Vampiro match that he had with somebody. Vampiro's looking rough. I can say that. But they don't even try to be like WWE. TNA, when they had the six-sided ring, they weren't trying to be like WWE. They were trying to be something different. And then Hulk Hogan came in, square ring, brother. Anyways, that was a long and prolonged answer. But how would I have booked off them trying to compete with WWE in 2010? I wouldn't have, because it's dumb. Am I the only one that realized the Aces and Eights storyline was a blatant Sons of Anarchy ripoff? Seriously, the whole thing drove me insane. The Aces and Eights was a massive fail. I don't watch Sons of Anarchy. It's one of those things that doesn't pique my interest whatsoever. There's a lot of other things I am watching. Daredevil, Jessica Jones. I just started watching S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah, I'm late to the party on that one. Walking Dead. You guys know the stuff that I watch. Sons of Anarchy wasn't one of them, but even I sat there and was like, what the hell is this? Like, seriously, what the hell is this? Bully Ray was a great character, showing that Bubba Ray Dudley can branch off and be a pretty wicked singles heel when he wants to be, but that was basically the only thing to come out of that. I'm sure you remember John Cena subtly saying that he would go to TNA if he was fired from WWE and gave the title to CM Punk in 2011. In general, what if he actually did? It would have been a good shot in the arm for TNA. It would have been a massive pay cut for John Cena. I think the way they did that, when he was standing up to Vince and he's like, oh, if you don't like the way I'm doing things, I could go to another company, brother. But I think that's about the same time that TNA was making fun of the Nexus, calling them losers in yellow shirts. So there was a bit of back and forth on that one. Cheney says, good thing my personal question limit is 10, ha ha ha. Anyways, thanks as always. Cheney, I can always count on you for 10. I know if the limit wasn't 10 that you would have asked more, so thanks as always. Speaking of the usual suspects, the Zohan. Which members of the OVW4, John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Batista, and Randy Orton would find most success in the current NXT developmental system? It's got to be Brock Lesnar. There's so much focus on NXT now by the fans on actual proper real like wrestling ability. Just look at superstars like the American Alpha. Brock Lesnar would be running roughshod on NXT right now, other than the fact that he's a big guy, and most people in the NXT would look really funny going up against him, except for maybe somebody like a Baron Corbin, which would just be funny now that I think of it. John Cena, Batista are more superstars than wrestlers, although I know they've got their preliminary career. John Cena was the prototype at one point, wasn't he? Randy Orton, also. Young Randy Orton could have had a pretty good run in NXT, I think. Rank Shawn Michaels' feuds against the following opponents from worst to best. Undertaker, Bret Hart, Triple H, Jericho. Bret Hart you got to put at the top, just because it was fucking real. Bret Hart, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels is sort of a tie. Jericho is an underrated feud, but it's on the bottom of that list. Which 3-on-3 match would you rather see? Shield versus the NWO or Shield versus the Bullet Club? All the NWO are riding the Silver Hair Express, so it's going to be Bullet Club versus the Shield, and that's fine by me. It'd be great, honestly. Bullet Club, as we're seeing it right now, AJ Styles, Finn Balor, Gallows, Anderson versus the Shield and CM Punk, and that's never going to happen, is it? Which pay-per-view would you see take the April after WrestleMania spot? Payback, Extreme Rules, Backlash, Unforgiven, In Your House. I struggle with questions like this, I really do, because other than Extreme Rules, because Extreme Rules is the pay-per-view where all the matches are extreme, there's all the, the wicked stipulations, whatever, the rest of them, the names don't mean anything. This is just the April pay-per-view. If you have Payback, Backlash, Unforgiven, In Your House, what is the difference between Unforgiven and Payback, other than the name? You can call it whatever you want, it's just another pay-per-view. It's a B pay-per-view. Not to say that you can't have a great pay-per-view on a B pay-per-view. That's not my point. But what I'm saying is when people talk about, Armageddon, New Year's Revolution, like you say, Unforgiven, the old In Your Houses, No Way Out. They're all cool names for a pay-per-view, which is fine, but nothing about that name indicates anything about the pay-per-view. Extreme Rules after WrestleMania is kind of cool. I like the idea that WrestleMania is full of wrestling matches, and if those wrestling matches don't go properly, we're gonna beat the shit out of each other next month with chairs and weapons and shit. I like that idea. I really do, and I think Extreme Rules should follow WrestleMania. I don't know why they're doing this shtick with Payback this time around. But the other names don't mean anything. I'm sure like each pay-per-view has had great moments, each pay-per-view has had defining moments, but it's not like TLC, where you're gonna see TLC matches. What's a Payback? What's a Backlash? What's an Unforgiven? What's an Armageddon? What's a No Way Out? What's a New Year's Revolution, other than the beginning of the new year? Realistically, it's kind of shitty to say because it's one of the big four. But what's a SummerSlam? SummerSlam is the summer pay-per-view. It's the mini WrestleMania, and I get that they try to play it off as a second WrestleMania now, which is great. But it doesn't have any identity, and neither do any of these except for Extreme Rules. So it really, in my opinion, it doesn't matter, because even if you want to say Extreme Rules, you can have a street fight on Payback. You can have a no-holds-barred match on Backlash. You can have an I Quit match at In Your House. People get hung up on the names, and it's like, oh, they should bring back great pay-per-views like Payback, or great pay-per-views like, Bad Blood. And it's like, but it doesn't matter. I'm rambling, I know. What do you think about the rumored Jumanji reboot starring Kevin Hart and The Rock? I haven't heard anything about it, and I hope that's not true. That's kind of sad in the world of movies. Did WWE waste Drew McIntyre? I don't think at the time. At the time, you could see that Drew McIntyre was kind of finding himself and whatever. One of the few good things that was going on in TNA before I just flat out stopped watching it was the Drew Galloway stuff, the Rise Up. It was an interesting gimmick, and the fans got into it because of the fan participation aspect of it. I mean, they drove it into the floor really quickly because it's TNA and that's what they do. But just seeing him in the ring, even from where he was in WWE till now, I think if they had held on to him a little longer, given him a little bit more time to mature, Drew McIntyre, whatever you want to call him, could have been a big name in WWE for sure. Like, he wasn't horrible in the ring. I think giving him the moniker of Vince's chosen one as he's debuting was the noose around his neck. As I said before about Roman Reigns, about the Bellas, about the Miz, whatever, fans don't want to think that they're liking somebody that the WWE likes. Fans are so hungry to be counterculture and so hungry to bitch about the company that saying that the company likes this guy is career suicide for that guy. And I think they learned their lesson. They haven't done that. Again, the closest you can say is, when Triple H called Seth Rollins the Undisputed Future. But by the time he was calling him that, Seth Rollins had already established himself from within the Shield. The fans already had a connection to him as a character. But if Vince McMahon had come out to introduce Seth Rollins for his Raw debut and introduced him as the chosen one of the McMahon family, he would have been dead in the water. So they kind of fucked him a little bit. This is absolutely true. Would you buy an actual Booty-O's cereal? The answer to that is quite simple. Is if it's an actual cereal, I would buy it if it's good. I don't really eat cereal on the regular. I don't eat breakfast most of the time because I'm just that smart. Apparently, if you buy the Booty-O's cereal thing from WWE shop, maybe somebody can confirm this down in the box below. Apparently, it's a cereal box with the Booty-O's t-shirt in it, so no cereal in there. Early prediction for the main event of WrestleMania 33, and will The Rock ever main event another WrestleMania? I'm going to answer those two questions in one, and I'm going to say I really hope next year I'll call it the part-timer main event, because the title match should be the main event. But as far as your part-timer, like your exhibition match of WrestleMania, I'm going to stick to it, guys. I said it all year last year. I'm going to say it all year this year. And I'm going to say it until it happens. We need to see The Rock and Triple H one more time. As they are now. I firmly believe that. What's the best match you've ever seen live? The best match I have ever seen live was actually a shitty in-ring match, if you go back and watch it now with unbiased eyes. But the spectacle of it is something I will honestly, and this isn't me, being overdramatic or exaggerating. As a wrestling fan, I have never quite had an experience like being at WrestleMania 18 for The Rock versus Hulk Hogan. And yes, I know, people have put it in the comment section. I mention it way too much. WrestleMania 18, hashtag I was there. But, people say all the time, the air was sucked out of the building, the walls were electrified, or the place was on fire. All those metaphors and all those phrases and more, for what the feeling was like in Skydome when Hogan came out to face The Rock. And it was sustained. It wasn't like big pop at the beginning of the match and that was it. The crowd was just, how can I say it and not sound like I'm just being a tool? The crowd vibrated during that whole match. They use the sales pitch all the time. We're going to sell you the whole seat, but you're only going to need the edge. Anything you can any cliche that you can possibly pull out was genuine for that show. It was so fun because it wasn't. If you go back and break it down as a wrestling match, it wasn't that great. I mean, it's Hogan, well past his prime, and it was The Rock who was doing his best to carry the match. But as a historical point, as a passing of the torch, as a spectacle, as a big marquee attraction, best thing I've ever seen in person, by far. Logan Cherry, thank you to, who the hell was answering? Thank you to the Zohan for all of those. Logan Cherry is my last question, and I will say I did cheat, so I've done a little bit of homework on this one before I flip the camera on and whatnot. So there are some notes for this one. If you could make a 10-match WrestleMania card using only previous WrestleMania match without using the same guy twice, what will your matches be? Now, because you've said that I can only use every wrestler once and I can't have two matches with the same wrestler in it, I've got a lot of either-or scenarios in this one. So, match number one is either Rock. is either Hogan versus Andre from WrestleMania 3 or Hogan versus The Warrior from WrestleMania 6. Match number 2 is Owen Hart versus Bret Hart from WrestleMania 10. Match number 3 is either Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 10 or Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania 25. Match number 4 is TLC 2 at WrestleMania 17 or Edge versus Mick Foley in their hardcore match at WrestleMania 22. Match number 5 is Shane McMahon versus X-Pac, because I can, from WrestleMania 15. Match number 6 is either, or no, it's not either, it just is. Match number 6 is Benoit versus Angle versus Jericho, 2-fall triple threat match for the European and Intercontinental Championships from WrestleMania 16. Match number 7 is Austin versus The Rock from WrestleMania 19. Match number 8 is Triple H versus Jericho from WrestleMania 18, because while I've spoken about that Rock versus Hogan match umpteen amounts of times, the match that never gets the credit it deserves is the match that came on right after that, which was Triple H versus Jericho for the Undisputed Championship. Match number 9 is CM Punk versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania 27, which was the dark horse match of that pay-per-view, and I will hold that opinion. And match number 10, because I can, and because why the fuck not, is Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar from WrestleMania 20. So thanks for that, Logan Cherry. Thank you to all of you guys who constantly come back month after month after month. Put your questions down in the box below like you do. So I will say, one more time, we're doing this again in May. Get your questions down in the comment section of this video by May 25th. There is a limit of 10, as Cheney mentioned a minute ago. Get them in before the 25th. We will do this again in a month. Sorry this is going up a couple days late, but you know, life happens. It is what it is. I thought the China stuff and the preview for Payback took a little bit of precedence over this. I want to say once again, thank you for the positive response that the live Google Hangout that we did for Payback has gotten so far. Please continue to give me feedback on that video. How do you guys feel about me using that forum? Please share the fuck out of this video so that we can have as many people participating as possible. You guys know, I've said it a million times, if I ever get busy, if I ever get down to I can only do one video a month, it will be this series. So please keep it going, and please remember that I've been Spaz, your YWC reality check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going, give me some more questions. Don't be a stranger, I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I'm tagging out. Bye.